You're listening to Executive Leaders Radio, broadcast from Meridian Bank. This is your host, Christine Miles. Hank, would you please tell us who's going to be on the show?
Sure. We got a terrific lineup today. We start out with Scott Hoffman, president of Jade International. So what did Mom and Dad do for a living?
They were both teachers, so I grew up with teachers on both sides.
And you had sort of your first job working for your mom.
I don't know if that was my first job, but that was certainly an early job where she would come home. She was doing tutoring, teaching, and we would mark papers and, take care of things like that for her so she could do other things. A lot of times when my mom was, when we were growing up, my mom would ask questions or the adult aspects of life. I would get pulled into that. So you learn to become an empathetic listener. You learn to, as a child, you're pulled into adult issues. You learn to see things differently. No, I ended up building a car for Soapbox Derby.
Yeah.
And the friend of mine, black kid, that, back in the 70s, that wasn't such a cool thing for our respective friends, but we liked each other. So we built our cars. His was really nice. Mine was kind of junky. Mine had paint. Mine was still wet when I pulled it out of the car, so procrastination still existed at that point. A lot of ridicule. Brakes weren't working. One of the sad
Ridicule
things
from the other fathers.
From the other fathers, right? So the
and
fathers
how did that
are.
make you feel?
Well, it makes you feel like you're less than perfect, that you're rushed through it, inadequate.
And how did you get through that? What was that little bit of hope that shined on you that day? That
day, my friend's father. I'm sitting there, and he was the one that stuck up for me. So I learned, that I was thankful that he was in my life, that he would take time for this kid. Race meant nothing. He just stood up for me against other fathers.
Fast forward to Jade International today as the president and the owner. How does that show up for your employees? That experience, how do you show up as a better leader because of that?
I think you learn to see into people what's important. How can you stand up for them? That everybody in my company and in the client's company has a right and a responsibility.